This is the Moog Messenger, and it's a monophonic analog synth with a ton of features. It's got an arpeggiator, it's got a sequencer, and anything that you'd probably want from an analog synth of this size, including MIDI and CV capabilities. It can sound like this. Like this. It can sound like this. And it can also do a lot of other stuff that we're gonna get into. This video is sponsored by Moog. Thank you, Moog. And I wanted to show the Messenger because it sounds really great, the workflow is pretty intuitive, and it fills a gap in my current synth collection. It has a lot of features that I'll dive deeper into, but honestly, I just love how flexible it is when dialing in a sound. For example, this has a really great low end, so I'm gonna use that to make a bass layer on a track. First, I'm gonna use my Vangon replay to make a weird random sequence. And then I'm gonna run my harp through this reverb. And then I'm gonna use the Messenger to create a bass layer, and that all sounds like this. Once you dial in a sound, you can create presets to go back to, and I'm going to cycle through some random presets to show you the variety of sounds you can dial in. You can get some basic waveform sounds like this, some percussive sounds, some weird stuff with the envelope and LFO. You can also recall some arpeggiator settings. If you get lost and just want a basic sound to start with, you can hold down the panel button. And you can press the panel button once to default back to what all the knobs are currently set to. Messenger has two oscillators that can be combined, along with noise and a sub-oscillator, and this mixer section over here can be used to blend them all together. The mixer is actually totally clean and doesn't saturate it when you push it. I'm going to start off with a really basic sound using one oscillator and then add more voices and frequencies to make it more complex. I'm going to mix in the second oscillator, then tune it down, then the sub-oscillator, and some noise. And then a low-pass filter. Instead of continuing to play what I've been playing, I'm going to program it into the sequencer and use this filter section and a bunch of other stuff to modify the sound. Choose sequence, then record the sequence. Then these light up when you play each note. You press these to turn off individual steps, and then we'll play the sequence. This turns off steps for both the sequencer and arpeggiator. There it is. The filter section has a master cutoff knob, a cutoff for oscillator 2. When you turn the resonance up, it cuts low end. You bring back the low end with this button. This lets you choose the type of filter. This is low pass. Now it's band pass. Now it's high pass. And all the way over here is the tempo knob. This is the envelope for the filter. This knob controls how much that envelope affects the filter, and in the center it's 0. Messenger has 2 LFOs that are both very different. LFO 1 has standard rate and depth controls. You can sync it with the tempo with this button. Then the rate knob lets you choose the subdivision of the tempo. LFO 1 lets you select 4 different waveforms. You can also select what LFO 1 controls. So that sounds pretty good. So we're gonna move on now to LFO 2. This controls the depth for LFO 2, and this controls the rate. These buttons over here choose what the LFO controls, and you can choose multiple at once. When I choose amplitude and cutoff, it feels like a filtered tremolo. There's a lot of options that you can explore using these buttons over here, like adjusting the probability that a specific note in a sequence will play in order to make things less predictable. And you can also navigate them to do a bunch of other more complex stuff. Messenger also has an arpeggiator that works in a really similar way to the sequencer, but obviously you have to hold down the chords instead of recording a sequence. Now I'm going to adjust the filter envelope, and add some noise. The CV inputs and outputs include a clock and a gate, so you can sync it to something like the Labyrinth. When there's an external clock, the tempo knob becomes a subdivide knob. You can also send CV into Messenger to tell it what notes to play. When I play a sequence, it's going to be influenced by the CV that's coming from Labyrinth. I'm going to create a sequence using Messenger, and I'm going to sync the tempo to this delay pedal via MIDI, and then I'm going to build onto that using more sounds from the Messenger. Thanks so much to Moog for sending me the Messenger and for sponsoring this video.